This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. All right, we're in that part of draft season where people are starting to get in those machines and cooking up some trades about what some teams should or shouldn't do. And my favorite thing about trades on social media, by the way, JP in the building, y'all. Well, guess what? I'm JP. Shout out to JP Acosta here. We've been talking to him, but the idea of trading back is usually a conversation approach from a very one-sided direction, which is, well, I would take this to move back 6 spots, but nobody's asking the question of like, hey, would anybody want to move up? This draft has a very interesting problem. There are maybe 3 guys that are what you would want to take in the top 10 of a draft traditionally in this class. A lot of really solid players, really good prospects. But outside of maybe the first 4 or 5 pick or top 5 or 4 on your prospect board, there's not a lot there that you're comfortable with in the top 10. So if you're a team like the Browns and you're sitting at 6 and you're saying, well, I want to get number 6 overall value out of this pick, you might have to say to yourself, the only way to get the value out of that asset is to flip it into more assets. Right? Because maybe you don't think Carnell Tate alone could be worth it. But if you could turn it into somehow getting, Monroe Freeling and Chris Bell, well, maybe the combination of those two would be worth the number 6 overall pick. So the math works out for Cleveland. My question for you, JP, is, does the math work out for anybody in that range of picks that the Cleveland Browns want to sit in? Like, if the Browns want to trade back and somehow still get Monroe Freeling or Mekhi Lemon, how far back can they go? And who does that make sense to? And who would have to be available at 6 for that to make sense?
I think to get Monroe Freeling, they're going to have to trade. And you want to still trade back, you got to stay above 17, where Detroit is. Mm-hmm. I also think you might have to stay above Baltimore at 14.
Yeah.
Or no, not Baltimore. I think they're solid at tackle, but like,
I don't know. Ronnie Stanley's kind of been on a steady decline the last couple of years, and they look like they're in this weird spot where they don't know if they want to reload or if they're still going for it.
I think the optimal thing for Cleveland is one of David Bailey, Ruben Bain, or both keep falling. So in this hypothetical, Mendoza goes 1, Reese goes 2, Mainoa goes 3. We'll assume that. Jeremiah Love or Carnell Tate goes 4. Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs goes 5. At this point, maybe a team like the Cowboys is sitting there wanting to be aggressive. I think that's the optimal way. For if the Browns want to trade back, they need to trade back to like the 10, 11, 12 range. And then that's where you can really start doing we're fine with a trade back there. The issue is, again, it takes 2 to tango when it comes to trading back.
Yeah.
And if they're going to trade up, and if a team's going to trade up for someone, I think if they're going to trade into the top 10, it's going to be for one of those edge rushers. It's going to be for Bain or Bailey. But that will require one of them falling. And I feel like it's going to be more likely Bain than Bailey. But if both of them start to fall, and if we get to 5 and they're still both on the board, I think that's a really nice spot for Cleveland if they want to trade back and sort of coax a team into coming up to go draft one of those edge rushers.
Yeah, I've compared this to trying to plant a garden. Right. And I believe you do some gardening yourself, right? Like, a little bit of a green thumb over there.
Does.
Yeah, you're familiar with it, right? All right. Yes. So last year, the Browns were able to get a pretty incredible trade from the Jaguars, right? But they had really fertile ground to create the circumstances for that trade. You could wave Abdul Carter in some people's faces that might do it for him. Edge rusher, people saying, Micah Parsons out here saying, that's me. That's my twin, right? Like, that's going to get people excited, right? you also had Travis Hunter, who, I think Andrew Berry did a pretty deliberate job of selling through the media to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We found out, right? Shohei Ohtani, all that stuff, right? But a unique prospect, a Heisman Trophy winner, you know what I mean? And a legitimate unicorn that still could, be one of the rare sub 200 pounders that could be worth the number 2 overall pick, right? So he was able to sell that really well. And I think he did a great job getting that trade. I look at 6 this year, and where that felt like putting a seed in a nice moist garden with good sand and temperature control, it feels like he's trying to grow this plant in a fucking parking lot this year, right? Because the circumstances are just harder to sell. It's like, oh, well, maybe if one, it's 6 instead of 2, which means 5 more variables in front of you instead of 1. So it makes it harder to plan out a trade because you have to use a greater deal of your imagination, right? If you're, Gladstone last year, you're like, well, of course he's going to be available at 2. We should have this conversation for months. But if the Browns are like, hey, well, this guy's available, you got to work completely in a hypothetical that has a 1 in 5 chances of falling apart during the draft. Well, not even, it would be higher than that. So it's like that's the difficult part just about the draft position. There's not a plentiful enough roster of prospects too that you're guaranteed to have somebody there at 6 that you can sell to somebody else.
Yeah, it's this kind of draft class where I think a lot of teams I think we're gonna have a lot of trades on draft night, but I do think it's gonna be tough because at the end of the day, 32 players still get drafted in round 1. Now, where or who the teams are making those picks, who knows? But I do think that it's gonna take another team being aggressive for a defender for them to move up, or maybe it's. I don't know. I mean, I think the more likely thing, if specifically for the Browns who are wanting to go out of the top 10, it'll have to be for a defender. And I think, again, specifically, a team like the Cowboys who have a Super Bowl caliber offense already and a defense that just needs pieces, I think they're the most likely team to be aggressive.
Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. What then do you feel like would be good compensation to move back from 6 if you're Cleveland?
From 6, I think you need the 26 first rounder. If you're trading with Dallas, I don't think you're going to get both their first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get 12 and 20, but you can get 12, and you can get 12 and 92. I think.
So you would take a swap of the first and a third for the compensation.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to be enough for Andrew Berry?
I think he's going to ask for more, but the Cowboys also might just be fine sitting at 12.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it comes down to if you're going to try and job us, no, we'll sit there.
Well, they don't have anything else to give, right? Like they're not going to give up that extra first, right? I think that's out the question. You don't have the number 2 overall pick this year. Right?
If the Browns were drafting where Arizona was drafting, I think the conversation is different. Because I think in my latest mock, I had the Cowboys trading up to 3 to draft David Bailey, but I had them trading 12 and 20 to move up to 3. I think that's what it would take if you want to move into the top 5. But because the Browns are outside the top 5, I think it'll just be 12. 12 and 92, like I said.
Yeah. I wonder what, if you're the Browns, what extra pick is worth it to just take the chance? Because, like, we don't know what the Browns are thinking here, right? Like, I would say if they love Monroe Freeling, right, then I would assume that increases the price for what they'd be willing to do to move back, because now you're like, okay, I'm putting that at risk. I got to get a second rounder back to make that worth the risk. But I don't know, like, would pick 90 be enough if your team, with the needs that Cleveland has, knowing that Monroe's very likely going to be there at 6, would that be enough to move you off of pick 6?
I mean, if you want to trade back and you get an extra pick in 92, that means you would have 2 firsts, a second round pick, 2 thirds, all on the first 2 days of the draft. And given how well Andrew Berry worked day 2 of the draft last season, outside of Dylan Gabriel, which was weird, I think they're likely to do that because the strength of this draft to me is on day 2 of the draft, because there's not a lot of blue chip talent, but there are a lot of guys who I see as quality starters. Like, they're not superstar players, but I think on day 2, you'll find a lot of good starters. So I think that's exactly where, like, having a lot of ammo on day 2 might be more likely and more effective.
What do you think the Browns do if they move back to 12, they pick up that 90, and Monroe gets taken, let's say Chiefs surprises, they take a left tackle or something like that. Like, they take him earlier. Let's say he goes earlier than we're anticipating. He's not there at 12. And let's say also Tate's gone too.
I think,
how do the Browns go about, like, one, like, what do they do at 12? But also, how do they go about fixing that giant hole at left tackle?
I think then at 24, you go Caleb Lomu from Utah. One of the true left tackles in this class. Another really good mover.
Full doomsday scenario. Let's say Lomu's not there at 24. Let's say
if Lomu's not there at 24.
Yeah.
So say at 12. We'll start with 12.
Well, let's
12,
say your intel, you're GM, you're sitting at pick 12. Your intel's telling you we don't anticipate Lomu being there at 24.
So you don't anticipate Lomu being there at 24. You're at 12 now.
Yeah. And Monroe's gone.
I'm moving back again.
You're calling Philly?
I'm moving back to 6. I'm moving back with the Jets.
Okay.
At 16. Because they're going to want to get aggressive for a receiver, potentially. So if they go get a receiver, you stay in front of Detroit to get Lomu or any of the tackle prospects. If they love Caden Proctor, say, like, if they really want Caden Proctor, they can draft Caden Proctor there, or Caleb Lomu. And then you still can draft the receiver
at 24.
Yes.
Because you'll probably be fine at 24, wide receiver wise.
Yeah.
Would that feel worth it though? Like, to pick up 90? Like, with 90, and I would assume the trade with the Jets would probably be a 4th?
Let's see. I mean,
maybe you could squeeze out another third if you do like a pick swap thing. Like, where's their third?
So I think if they're going to trade back again, it would take, like, they give up like 16 and let me see what draft picks. The Jets have a whole bunch of draft picks, which is why I said the Jets specifically, because they are the team that I think can maneuver around the board. So I think the Jets will have You also pick up their 4th round pick at 103, maybe. Or would the Browns really want to get aggressive and say, like, yeah, we'll take 44 from you? Like the 2nd round pick to move up 4 spots. They might be like, we're not going to give up 44 because they also have a whole lot of needs and giving themselves a lot of opportunities. Do they have a 3rd rounder? They do not.
No, like maybe you can move that 90 to like 77 or something. It might be.
I would say you could swap picks if the Browns offered 12 and like 90.
Oh, to get 44?
To get 44 and 16.
That would almost be worth it. That would be more worth it than like if they just got the 4th back. But I don't know if the Jets would go for it.
Well, I mean, then you're starting to think like instead of 90, what if the Browns gave up 70? 12 and 70 for like 16 and either 44 or 33.
Yeah, they're going to have to like, I think my whole point with this draft is like last year they kind of like, they didn't luck into it because obviously Andrew Berry worked for that trade, right? That he got with James and James worked for it too, right? But he landed in a situation where something came and it was very favorable and it made sense for everybody involved and that was perfect, right? And to Andrew's credit with the picks that he got, pretty good. Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, right? And then we'll see what they do in 24. But pretty good haul, right? Considering like the whole thing with Travis Hunters, he's supposed to be an impact player on 3rd down on both sides of the ball. Well, you got an impact player on 3rd down on offense and on defense. So pretty good there, right? So you should be happy with that haul. This year we're talking about stuff like this, right? Where we're kind of like Charlie on Always Sunny with the board. We're like, well, if we connect this knot to this one, and then we can make it work. This is going to be a bigger test of Andrew Berry's ability as a facilitator, as a GM, right? His ability to sell this number 6 overall pick and then turn whatever it is that you can get out this extra, and also like just to be adaptable because we don't know how this board's going to fall out this year. That's one of the negatives of this being such a like, there's a traffic jam in the middle of this 1st round of like guys who make sense for like 13 but don't really make sense at 3, right? And that makes it so that anybody can go anywhere in this draft class. So it's like you have to be adaptable. You have to be manageable. I mean, we joked about this with Cincinnati. Cincinnati is one of the least adaptable teams in the NFL when it comes to like their draft. They always panic and they always just fall back to their fucking board, right? Like that. Cincinnati never like adapts to the situation. They're like, oh no, we mocked for this situation. We're going to take this player, right? The worst pick the Browns made last year was a pick that they weren't flexible on, right? They went into the draft probably to make Kevin happy. This is my personal theory, so nobody take it for the whole truth. I'm just putting together what I know, you know what I mean? But you tell me if it doesn't make sense. Feels like when you go into the draft saying we're going to pick this guy, this pick, Kevin, like feels like a pick there that you were going to make no matter what, even when Shador's sliding, because you told Coach you would do that and that was going to make Coach happy. And Coach had made it clear that he needs to be made happy. Right? Like he needs one. And Dylan's the one he wanted, right? Like there's pretty good intel on this, right? Number 2 on the Browns board at quarterback. Crazy enough to think. But that's who they wanted there. And, that wasn't a great pick. That was the worst pick that they made, right? The least adaptable pick that they were about. This is going to be a huge test to Andrew Berry's skills, not just as a guy who can draft players, because I think we only evaluate that part of being a GM, but like the adaptability, the thinking on your feet, being able to be like, oh shit, well, we need to move back, but maybe we could turn this into that. Like that is a huge part of being a good GM. I mean, like look at the Rams. They're the kings of that, right? Like of being able to flip that value and then also draft well. That's going to be the big test for Andrew Berry when it comes to this draft. Is there's no clear right answer for what you should do. I wish there was. I wish this was a Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase year, and we're arguing about which one we should do. And I'm just sitting here like, we're going to be fine either way. Right? Like that. It's amazing how Penei Sewell, that worked out great for the Lions. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take that back. Hey, Jamar Chase worked out great for the Cincinnati Bengals. Wish we were in a situation where it's like two prospects that you feel that strongly about. Or, Justin Herbert's going to be there at 6. We should take a quarterback. Would love it, JP. Would absolutely love if we were in that situation. We just aren't, right? We're in a situation where whatever you're going to do, people are going to have thoughts about. Mm-hmm. And that is where GMs get tested.
Exactly. And I think that flexibility is going to be huge moving forward, especially for the Browns, because you still want to try and improve the team. But there is a lot of risk when it comes to moving up and down the board, like especially in this draft class where there's a lot of relative unknowns.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So do you think, what's percentage wise you're going to put on the Browns being able to trade back?
I would say 45%.
45%. Do you think the Browns surprise us and trade back out of the top 20?
No.
You don't think so? Dream first round scenario for the Cleveland. Well, do you think the Browns could trade out the top 20 and then back into the top 20?
That would be
trade to 22
hilarious.
And then trade back up to like 17.
That'd be hilarious because if you want to get one of the better tackles, you're going to have to stay in front of Detroit.
Yeah.
So I think they might be able to, but it depends on how the receivers start to fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're going off the board early, say Tyson, Tate, Lemon, all gone, and the Jets are there at 16, yeah, I'd say if the Browns traded it back outside of top 20, they could come back up to 16.
All right. Dream first round scenario if you're Cleveland.
I think the dream is Freeling at 6, or they get their left tackle at 6. And in 24, you just pick the best receiver of the bunch. Whether that's Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper Jr., you have the opportunity there just to draft one of those guys and go away from the first round being like you have your left tackle and receiver of the future.
I think my favorite first 3 pick scenario is moving back somehow, like dream, right? Somehow picking up an extra second to move back to 13, still getting Monroe. And in 24, I feel like they might go Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Oh.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. I'm not even going to lie to you. That'd be sick.
I feel like that's going to be our Schlesinger of this draft. And then moving up from 39 to 35 maybe, or like even like sitting at 39 and getting Chris Bell. I think
that would be very fun.
Yeah, and I think that would work out for them, or at least have a great chance of working out. But JP, want to thank you for joining us today, man. Where can people find more of your stuff?
You can find me at Pushing the Pile, CBS Sports. That is going to be on YouTube. Follow the YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm also on CBS Sports Network, CBS Sports HQ. And I just recently had a mock draft go up on cbssports.com. You should be able to find that. And I also might have another pretty cool story coming out. One of my favorites of the year of the draft cycles, comparing NFL draft prospects to things that have nothing to do with football. So just be on the lookout for that.
Oh, is this going to be your anime?
Yes.
Oh man, I can't wait for Cove to reference that article furiously for me to not know what's going on. Awesome.
I snuck in some comparisons for you that you'll understand.
I'm about to say, you need to just give me a wrestling alternative.
There is one in there that's a wrestling comparison.
Okay. All right. Because my favorite wrestling comp is Aaron Rodgers and CM Punk, same person.
It's like chaotic good, chaotic evil.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Exact same person. Like, also would not be surprised if Aaron Rodgers somehow ended up back in Green Bay. Like, strictly because like somebody else pissed him off, you know? But appreciate you, man. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.